I was in grade 4 and it was COVID, so no school, only
Oh,
online. And
okay.
I got TikTok and I started posting videos of my hedgehogs at that time, and I started seeing LGBTQ videos. And some trans activists were saying that, like, if you don't feel comfortable in your body or you're alone, that means you're trans. And I started believing that.
Hey everybody. Wow, I got such a great one today. I mean, I just feel so happy to have this person who I'm you can see sitting next to me, but you're just gonna be totally blown away by the story of this person. So with that, I always feel so lucky to get these great interviews that I get. And with that, I want to thank you for liking, subscribing, joining the channel, helping me raise awareness around what's happening here. And I can't do it without you. And it's the reason I get these amazing guests. So with that, I don't want to waste any time. I want to really bring this person on. So I have this young person today who reached out to me, and her name is Julie. And I'm not going to speak for her right now. So I want her to sort of introduce herself, and then we'll get into the conversation. So, hi, Julie. Oh my God. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm so
Hi, Beth.
excited. You can see, I'm like super excited to have you today. Oh, before I move forward, I also want to know that Julie is a minor, and I have her mother sitting in the room with us, but she's off camera. So I just want everybody to know that, just for many reasons, it's important for me to make sure that her parent or one of her parents is with us today. So with that, Julie, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us how old you are, and then we'll move forward.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm 13 years old and I'm very happy to be here.
Great. Thank you. So you reached out to me, maybe a week or so ago, and then we had a private conversation. So why don't you tell us why you reached out to me?
I reached out to you because I wanted to share my story too.
Yeah.
Because I'm a D-sister. I used to identify as trans, but then I stopped because I got pulled into this by a cult, and like all my teachers and friends all pushed me into it. And I
Wow.
finally got out, and I really want to share my story with you guys.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's just so heavy. You're 13. I have a 12-year-old son, so you're like the same age. So I'm just like, it blows my mind. And I had an interview with you, a little private one, and I just felt like, wow, you're so smart, and you really give me hope for the future of young people, and it really means a lot to me that you're willing to talk about this kind of traumatic experience. Well, not kind of. I think it is a traumatic experience. So you call yourself a D sister, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what that actually means?
Okay, yeah. A D-sister is someone who identified as trans for a while, but then stopped without actually like pursuing any medicalizations.
Got it. Okay. So why don't we get into a little bit of the story here? So why don't we talk about sort of the beginning, maybe, if that's all right? So how you kind of got into this ideology.
Yeah. I was in grade 4 and it was COVID, so no school, only
Oh,
online. And
okay.
I got TikTok and I started posting videos of my hedgehogs at that time, and I started seeing LGBTQ videos. And some trans activists were saying that, like, if you don't feel comfortable in your body or you're alone, that means you're trans. And I started believing that.
Oh my God. How old were you when you got on TikTok?
10 or 11.
Is so 10 or 11-year-olds are on. I mean, I'm on TikTok, right? I'm a big old adult, as you know. I just think it's actually weird that me and you, right? You're 10 and I'm 60, and we're on the same platform. Don't you think that's kind of creepy?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So here you are, 10 on TikTok, and it's COVID, which we know caused a lot of problems for everybody, but especially young people, right? So was it that you were kind of maybe feeling lonely, and TikTok was a space for you to go to?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't really have any friends at that time. It was the beginning
Oh,
of puberty and I was feeling alone.
oh, yeah, I bet. So puberty started for you about, is that early for puberty, or is that about what
I think that's a
happens?
bit early. I was the first one in my class.
Oh, wow. So that's actually a big deal. Yeah. And it's different for boys than girls' puberty for sure. It's a whole different experience. So here you are on TikTok, and somebody was it somebody your age or was it that age group that was telling you maybe you're trans?
I think it was older teenagers, like 17, 18 years old, and maybe like young adults in the 20s.
Oh my gosh, this is blowing my mind. I mean, everybody out there's mind is blown already. I can tell you we're only not even 5 minutes into it. It's like, what? So, so, I mean, I'm going to say as an elder, not only as just a human being, but also as a transsexual person, 100% you were sort of pulled into this. Is that what you feel like?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, can you kind of maybe tell me some of the things, if you remember, because it's a while ago, but do you remember some of the things they were sort of telling you about that made you kind of feel a part of that?
Yeah, so I was seeing videos, and those people were saying that being trans made them so happy, and like their life got so much better after it happened. They made a lot of new friends, and I
Wow.
really wanted that. Like I wanted to have a lot of people that like me. So I thought
Yeah.
that maybe I am trans. Maybe like this is the way for me.
Right. So being sort of lonely, right? Being sort of maybe going through your puberty, things are changing, and then maybe not feeling a part of something. Of course, I think that's normal for everybody, right? We all want to be part of a group. We all want to be, we want to have a community and hang out with people, and especially when you're that age. So, yeah, so it's pulling you into this space to feel a part of maybe I'm trans. So you started questioning yourself.
Yeah, at first it was like only my sexuality. I thought I was like bisexual or lesbian.
At 10?
Yeah,
Wait, what? I know, I'm old. Do I seem like an old person? Like, what? But seriously, at 10, you started questioning your own sexuality.
yeah,
Wow. Because were other young people at your age talking about their sexuality?
yeah. A lot of kids in my class were discussing these
Being
things.
bisexual or were they saying pansexual too?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So here you are. So then, COVID hits, you're at home. So were you being homeschooled? Did you guys have school on Zoom or something like that?
on Google Classroom.
On Google Classroom. Okay. So you were still kind of going to school and you were still around that, but you didn't have any human interaction, right?
Yeah, I
So
didn't.
no, that's so dangerous. So now you're starting to feel a part of the do you remember some of the things they were saying that would make you trans? Do you remember?
Like
Like
having more boyfriends than girlfriends and liking to play with cars
what?
and not wanting to wear dresses all the time.
Wow, basically a tomboy.
Yeah.
Or basically just a girl who doesn't want to wear dresses. Like, what? Yeah, you see what's happening there? They're like telling you because so do you think of yourself as maybe a girl that doesn't want to wear dresses and doesn't want to do girl things?
Well, now I really want to do all of this stuff because I missed out on like 2 or 3 years, so I really want to catch up on all the experiences that I missed.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm jumping ahead because I'm just like I can't even believe it. So now you're getting indoctrinated into this thought process that you're trans. Now, as it's going along, are you having conversation with your mother and father about this?
After like about a year of like hiding it from my parents, I did come out to my mom and dad as non-binary.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah. So you had a whole year of sort of keeping it to yourself. Why do you think you kept it to yourself?
Because like at that time I thought that not everyone knows about this kind of stuff, and I thought my parents would be very confused.
Were people telling you maybe your parents might be confused?
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, because I see that, right? I see some of that going on. Like, don't tell your parents, they won't understand, or
Yeah.
your family won't get you. And I see a lot of that happening, right? So on some level, they sort of make you not think your parents will get. So for a year, you're just on TikTok. Were you doing anything physically, to maybe make yourself feel more trans?
I cut my hair.
Oh, you did. Did your mom have any um, questions about why you cut your hair?
The first time, no, because like she thought I just wanted a haircut.
Yeah.
But then when I told her that I don't feel like a girl anymore, she was a bit confused.
Of course, right? She's like, "What do you mean you don't feel like?" So I spoke with your mom. She's very intelligent. So that being said, did your mom ask you what does that even mean? You don't feel like a girl?
Yeah, I told her I was non-binary, and she was like, "What is that?"
I mean, I would do the same of my kids because what is that, right? So then when she asked you, what is that? Did you have an answer or did you
I told her it's like not feeling like a girl or a boy, and I think I just told her to like search it up.
Google it, mom? You'll get it. So, I mean, wow, I want people to understand. I had a conversation with Julie's mom, and she's super awesome and very powerful. We'll get into that a little bit later. But so there you are cutting your hair, really, because now you have long hair, but was it
Yeah.
short?
Yeah, it was very short.
So you looked more like a boy?
Yeah.
So then what was the next thing? Did you start to, so you're identifying as non binary, you cut your hair short. Did you change your name to a different kind of name?
It wasn't exactly a different name, but it was a more masculinized version of my name.
Right, right. Gotcha. So it wasn't your girl name, right? It
Yeah.
was more of a sort of non binary or masculine name. So there you are, cutting your hair, changing your name, identifying as non binary. Now, did you start to feel more accepted?
Yeah, like because all of my friends were supporting it, everyone was calling me they them. Like even my teachers were supporting me, so I felt very happy. Like I finally made new friends.
Yeah, that's right. So you're kind of becoming this more popular sort of person at now. So did COVID? So this is all happening during COVID. Now, did you get back into school during this time? Did COVID end and you
Yeah.
started going back to school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was grade 5 and I think we were like at school like part-time or something.
Okay. And then you started going back and actually being physically in the classroom with the.
Yeah.
So now you're at school and your teacher starts to participate in this whole thing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So did you actually tell your teacher that you identified that way or did they ask you?
Well, me and one of my friends were in the hallway and another kid came up to us and that kid called me a she, so I was like, "No, it's they." And the teacher overheard it and she like pulled me into the classroom and she was like, "Do you are you like not a girl anymore?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm non-binary and I go by they them pronouns." And she was like, "Okay, okay. Do you want me to call you that?" And I said, "Yes."
And then she just did it.
Yeah.
Were there other people in your classroom also identifying that way?
Well, there was this one boy who went by it, but it was only for a few months because he was playing around like he wasn't serious.
Okay. Okay. Great. I'm glad to hear that because some people do. You know that. Some kids are identifying as it, which
Yeah.
is actually absurd. So the teacher starts participating. Was the school, did the teacher tell the school or was the school notified that this was happening with you?
I think the teacher told the principal, and like when I told my mom about this,
Mhm.
she had like a meeting with the principal to not call me they them at school, but the teacher never listened. Like I was still called they.
Even after your mother actually had a meeting and they just, that's disrespecting a parent, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, your parents are the ones who get to make those choices, not the school. So then at school you're being called the boy name and you're being called they them and but what happens when you go home?
At home, I'm still like a girl. Like my
A
parents
girl.
didn't really think much about it because they thought it was like just a phase, and I'm playing around. Like it didn't mean anything to them at that point.
Was that making you upset?
Um, I don't think so because I thought that they would get used to it soon enough.
Sure. So you weren't being like mean to them or just kind of saying, "Oh, they just don't understand."
Yeah, there were a few like they them pronouns aren't really a thing in like our home language. So I asked my parents to call me it in that language, and my parents like never complied because they thought it was weird.
Got it. Well, yeah. I mean, as a parent, I think if my kids started telling me, "Call me it," I'd be like, "Dude, it ain't happening. I'll call you whatever, but I'm not calling you it," because it's kind of degrading, don't you think? It's kind of like means you're not. Means you're nothing by calling yourself an it. It's. I
Yeah,
know I'm laughing, but it's actually not a funny matter. You know that.
yeah,
It's just ridiculous. But I get it. So now you're kind of doing this maybe for a year or so, right? And you're really getting into this identity of non-binary, they them at school, and you have this whole other identity. Did you ever start to wear a binder or do anything like that?
Yeah, I did because after the summer of grade 5, I was like spending even more time online and I started to think I was a boy now. And around that time when grade 6 started, I ordered myself a binder from Amazon without my parents' knowledge because I was gifted an Amazon gift card from a party and I used it.
Oh my gosh, I'm like
This is
blown away.
hilarious.
So how old are you in sixth grade? Or you're 11 or 12, something like this is like a
Yeah,
year?
11 at the beginning.
11 at the beginning. So you're 11. You get an Amazon gift card. You can go on to, I hope everyone out there is hearing what's happening. I'm not saying this. She is. She is now 13, but at 11, she's an Amazon gift card goes onto Amazon and actually orders a binder. And for the people out there who don't know what a binder is, could you explain maybe what a binder does?
It's like a very tight bra that like flattens your chest to make it look flat.
So you look more like a boy instead of a
Yeah,
girl. Because at this time you're already going through puberty, so your body is growing and maybe you are getting breasts, right? And this
yeah,
is uncomfortable. I mean, it's uncomfortable for everyone, you know? It's just an uncomfortable space. Even girls who feel like they're girls, right? It's just not comfortable. Your body's yucky. It's changing. It's not a good thing. But so there you I mean, I'm just blown away that you could actually order it on Amazon without any parental like block. You know what I mean? Those are that's just mind blowing to me. So there you are. You get a binder. Your parents don't know. Did you start wearing it to school?
yes. And the weird thing is, like, I didn't order it to my home. Like, there's this like public mailbox thing in my town, and
Uh,
I put the like shipping address to that mailbox, and I got a code on my phone when it arrived to just unlock that mailbox.
you're right. Amazon has what's called lockers.
Yeah,
I never thought about that. Oh my gosh. So you didn't even need, you could totally bypass your parents ever even knowing that.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. I just wanted to thank you, Julie, for being here today because, you know, you are so brave, first off, for having this conversation. Whether or not you feel like it or not, you are, because some young people will watch this show and also parents will watch it. And we need to have this information that you can actually go behind your parents' back at the age of 11. You're not 17 or 18, right? You're 11 and you can literally, and you're smart enough to know that you can. So when you're ordering it, did it give you the option to give a locker?
Yeah.
So you didn't. Did you know that you could do that, or you only kind of knew it when you started ordering the product?
Well, I saw that that was an option, and I like looked it up on Google to see where it's located and like how it works. Like, will I need like parental permission? And it said like no, you just receive a code on your phone once it arrives, and like that's all I needed.
Wow, this is so crazy. I had no idea you could do that. So there you get. You get your binder. It's a total secret. Your parents don't know what's going on. You start wearing this binder, and you started wearing it to school.
Yes.
And then, so now you're. How are you feeling though? I want to get into a little bit about how you feel when you're doing all of this kind of stuff, sort of behind your parents' back.
Well, I was feeling a bit like stressed because my parents didn't know about it, and I was like trying so hard like to hide it when I was at home. I was like burying it under my clothes, like so they
Right.
didn't see it. And when I was at home, I would put on another layer, like a layer of like a real bra, so my parents thought I was wearing a bra on top of it, like so it would look normal, like a padded bra.
Right.
And I would take it off as soon as I would go outside. So
So you were living two lives on some level, right?
yeah,
Like
for a
having to
little while, yeah.
be the daughter at home and then leaving and going out. So at this time did you start to get more sort of friends that you could hang out with personally, not on the internet, but maybe personally?
Yes, there were more kids in my class that wanted to be friends with me.
Do you think because you were identifying as trans?
I think so, yeah.
And were they also so at this point did you start identifying as trans and not non-binary or are we still like non-binary trans?
Trans at that point.
And more boy, did you start using more male, like he pronouns, or did you?
Yeah, yes, I did. I told my teacher and friends, and like they were all accepting of it. And I told my mom like a week later.
So now your pronouns go. So it starts in non-binary. Then from non-binary, you start to feel more male, and then you start to get the binder, and now you change your pronouns to male, and now you start identifying as more of a he, right?
Yeah,
So now you go. So did you talk? So what'd you say to your parents?
I was like, I'm a boy now. Like, you have to support me, or else like you don't love me. Because I was hearing the stuff on the internet, like if your parents don't support your new identity, that means they don't love you. And I was believing that stuff, and I was like, please just like accept me, but they didn't. So I thought they hated me.
Of course you did. Of course, because all the people are telling you that, and you're so malleable at this age, right? You're so easily believing these people. A lot of them, as you said earlier, a lot of the ones on the internet were older too, right? So of course you're going to believe the older kids. They know what's going on. Like that's completely normal behavior. None of what you're telling me feels abnormal. It feels very much like an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old can easily get sucked into, and also wanting to be liked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, wanting to fit in. And so now you're being told your parents don't understand you. They're never going to understand you. Did you start to dislike your parents?
Yeah, because that's what some of the most popular YouTubers were saying. I think like one of them was Jamie Dodger, and there was a guy named Noah. I forgot his name, but I was watching those two like all the time. And like now that I see some videos where like I think you and like or like some other popular like YouTubers who don't support this like react to those videos, and I'm like, how did I ever trust those people? Like how?
That is just, I'm so glad you named them. Thank you for naming them because they are part of this damage and they're not taking responsibility for it. They have I have a small platform compared to them, right? They have like a millions of followers and they talk to people like you, right? And they, on some level, so there you are listening to they're older than you, by the way. Both of them are, I think at this time, they're both adults. Are they not? Or are they maybe 17, 18? Even
I
though,
think
let's
they're
just
adults.
they're older. They are older. I know exactly who they are. So yeah, you see, I told you, everybody out there, the young people listen to these big influencers, and all of a sudden, these big influencers are influencing this young girl to think she's something she is not. And also the fact that they're saying, so they were actually saying that stuff about the parents, like they're not going to like you, or
Yeah, and they like some of them were talking about like these websites that can like send you binders for free like without your parental knowledge. You just have to sign up for a wait list.
what they were going to send them. So, oh wow, man! So they have like a whole giveaway.
Yeah,
So without your parents knowing. Oh
yeah,
my gosh! Wow. So that's is. How did you find out about the binder? Did I ask you that question? Were people talking about it on TikTok and all of that?
yeah. They were like showing off their new binders, like comparing different brands on like which ones work better, which ones make them feel more euphoric.
Euphoric. Oh my God, Julie, I've been doing this for like 32 years. I don't ever remember feeling euphoric. So I'm like, what are you people taking? I don't really get what euphoric. You see what I mean? It's all this sort of, I mean, you do. You're very smart. Indoctrination of words, right? It's going to make you feel better. You're going to be better. You might not
Yeah,
know you're this now, but we're going to help you figure out. Doesn't that feel kind of like a cult?
yeah, because it is a cult.
You're so great. You're great. I love you. You have no, you're just like, that's how it is. Well, again, it's your experience as well. And I'm going to, as an older person, I'm going to agree with you there, kiddo. So, yeah, there's the YouTubers influencing you, the TikTokers influencing you. This just wasn't around when I transitioned as an adult. And I really do think it's so dangerous. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So there you are, you're getting influenced, your parents don't like you, so is that causing a sort of like situation at home where you don't even want to talk to your parents?
Well, not exactly that, but I was like arguing with them all the time, trying to convince them that like this is like who I am, like they have to like me. And because of that, like because all the teachers were also starting, like the principal was starting to say that my parents like are abusive and they don't like me. I was starting to struggle with my mental health because like I didn't know who to believe. Like were my parents like actually loving, or like were they really hateful people?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I know it's got to start getting on your mental health, because on one side is the school system trying to save you, but on the other side is your parents going, "Oh my God, we love you so much." Like, no. And then who do you believe? Right? So you're struggling with, who do I believe?
Yeah, like I actually believed my school more at one point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because they're driving that divide, right? They're driving
Mhm.
that divide. And also the trans community is driving that divide. Like, your parents don't know, they'll never understand, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, you're listening. And then now the school, how did the school get involved? Was that because your mom went there?
Well, yeah, that was one of the reasons. But like after my first mental health crisis, where I ran away, and like Children's Aid Society was called, like the school was also involved, and like the principal of my school told like a bunch of like lies to
Wow.
CPS about like that my parents were like, so bad, like they're emotionally abusing me, and yeah,
What? So, wait, let's back up a little bit, right? So, you ran away.
yes,
When did that happen? Like, did that happen during your arguing with your parents? Was that sixth grade you ran away, or?
that was September of grade six. It was because of actually like I wanted to wear a very tight bra at night because I wasn't comfortable sleeping with that one because of my
Okay.
gender dysphoria.
Gosh.
Yeah, and like my mom and dad were like, "You have to take it off, or else we're like gonna like take it away from you."
Yeah. Right.
And
Of
I got
course.
so mad that they don't want me to like sleep in one, so
Yeah.
I ran away the next day.
See, and it's not healthy to wear it all day, right? But
Yeah,
it's very, very bad for you. Whether or not, whatever, let's take the trans out of the equation. Putting something like that, for the people who don't know out there, it's a compression garment, as she said. So it's compressing the breast so it looks more masculine. But can you imagine if you're wearing that like 24/7? That is actually dangerous. And people have actually gotten hurt from it. Their ribs have been moved, and because they wear it so tight. So your parents are like, no, you're not sleeping in that. Oh, so they eventually found out that you were wearing the binder.
yes,
Yeah. And then you're trying to sleep in it, and they're like, no. And then, of course, this is totally normal behavior when you are a kid and you're like, your parents don't understand. So you run away. So where'd you run away to?
a beach nearby.
So did you go for a whole night, or how long were you gone?
I ran away in the morning. I think I was gone for an hour or two because the police found me really fast because they
Yeah.
tracked my phone.
Excellent police work. There you go. So they pick you up on the beach. Did your mom like go into your room and saw that you were gone? Is that how they figure out you ran away?
I think so. Yeah, I left a
Yeah.
note on the table that like, please take care of my guinea pigs. Like, I won't be back.
Oh, that's so sad. It hurts my feelings. So you go to the beach, and then the police pick you up. Was that scary that the police found you?
Yeah, it was.
I bet it was so scary. It's so scary, like even now when the police stop you. So you know what I mean? It's like even if you're not doing anything bad, the police are scary. So they pick you up. Do they take you back home?
No, they took me to the hospital.
Oh, they did. Okay, so what happens at the hospital?
Like, I talk with the crisis worker. Like, I explain my situation. I tell them that my parents are not supportive. That like I'm trans and like I have gender
Oh my
dysphoria
god.
and like my parents don't get it. And they were like, "Yeah, we'll talk to your parents. We'll try to like help them understand this more. Like, we definitely support you and accept you here."
Oh wow. Okay. So then do they call your parents after that?
Yes, and they ask me if I want them to come, and I say no. So like I'm left alone with the workers
For how long?
for 3 days, I think, because I'm left in the psych unit just to be like watched.
Did
Because
you
like
go
normal
on?
kids don't just run away from home.
No, it's not. There's definitely something going on. Yeah, not every kid runs away from home when they're mad at their parents. You're right. That's a great point. So now they're trying to evaluate you. And the minute you say trans, that's the magic word, trans, then they start kind of saying, okay, well, we're not going to give you back to your parents. We're going to keep you here and evaluate your mental health, which is kind of important, to be honest. But
But
do
they
your
didn't
parent?
do that.
Oh, so what? Tell us what they did.
Like the first like worksheet they gave me, it was a bunch of different pages, and it had different gender identities, and it like explained what each one means, and like the doctors wanted me to learn about different gender identities and try to like show them which one I am exactly.
Oh my God, they gave you what? They
Yeah,
gave you. But wait, were you? Oh my God. Wait, remember how old this youngster is, everybody? Like, that is bizarre to me. Why aren't they not giving other stuff? Or maybe, did you even see a psychiatrist at this point, or was it just kind of paperwork?
I saw a crisis worker, and like she asked me if I wanted to kill stuff, and I said no, and that's about it.
She actually asked you that?
Yeah,
Wow.
but I
Okay.
wasn't too at that time, so
that time. We'll get into that. So that's interesting, though, that she asked you that. But I think they possibly might have to ask you that. I'm not really sure how that works. But then they gave you this gendery paperwork that states all these things. Do you remember what boxes what boxes you checked off?
I think I checked off like trans mask and demi boy.
Wow, those are on the list?
Yeah,
Those are completely made up identities.
I
They're not
know.
even real.
And like some of the options were like pan gender, demi gender, agender, bi gender.
Oh my god. I love that you're laughing. I just love it. Because it's actually absurd.
Mhm.
They are playing into the mental illness. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you
Yeah.
feel like a cat? Right? Like, if you feel like a cat, something's actually very wrong
Mhm.
with you, friend. So, oh my gosh, you guys, I hope that you're all really just deep into this as I am. And so here you are, get into the mental hospital. They put you into the ward. You're there for 3 days. What's going on with your parents?
So like the team who works there, like they have a few meetings with my parents, and like they try to explain to my mom and dad that like your child's mental health is not really good right now because you don't support him, and like you have to accept it. Like it would be very nice if you go to a gender clinic and maybe talk about it with a gender specialist.
Wow, they're trying to indoctrinate your parents into believing you, right?
Yeah.
So again, keeping you and your parents separated. They're not trying to put you together. You're 11 or 12 years old. My God, people, we're not. You're not 25 and you're having a cry. You're 11 and 12. You don't think parents know their children better than anybody else out there? This is the part that's upsetting me, Julia. Is parents know you more than anyone else, and your parents are not being they're not beating you up or doing some insane stuff to you. They're literally trying to figure this out with you. But
Yeah,
to
my
me,
parents are very loving. They're just a bit confused.
uh, I met your mom. She's amazing. Your mom is a powerhouse. So no, 100%. I'm very aware of that, and I'm glad you are as well. But what's I think upsetting me is I see that right, they're keeping this wedge between you and your parents, and really, like, no, the 11-year-old knows who they are, even though they haven't really. So have you, during this whole time, have you been going to a therapist, or have you been dealing with talking to an actual professional person before you got picked up and put into this hospital?
No, not before. I think like when we were discharged, like the psychiatrist told us to get a therapist, so that's what we did.
Well, yeah, but clearly somebody at the school should have been getting you into a therapist space if they cared so much, right,
Mhm.
of your identity choices. So I want to go back a little bit also, because I remember hearing you say that did the school call CPS on your parents?
I'm pretty sure yes. I think it was the school and the police like at the same time.
So during this whole time right here that we're talking about, CPS gets called to the house. Wow. And that's Child Protective Services for people who don't know what CPS is. So somebody calls, we don't know who, and they show up at your doorstep. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Do you remember being there when the first time they showed up?
Yes.
What happened?
So the person who like came, she like went into my room and like we had a private conversation. Like she asked me like if my parents were doing anything bad to me, like physically abusing me. I said no, and like
Okay.
all I said is that like, I want my parents to support me. And she gave me like some phone numbers, like crisis lines, like LGBTQ like crisis lines to call if I'm ever like depressed or something. And she
Okay.
gave me like some other phone numbers about like local community LGBTQ like resources.
Hmm. Okay. Well, in all fairness, CPS is supposed to do that, but CPS is called when there's abuse happening. That's the thing, and that's the waste. First of all, wastefulness of this particular space. It should be used on kids who are actually being abused, right? And
Mhm.
so I get why she took you in the room, because they have to do that to make sure, like, I guess maybe they didn't know exactly what's happening. But then they just give you all these resources to call in case of what? Like, I, I don't understand. LGBT, you should have resources in case, parents are doing abusive stuff to you, but LGBT resources just in case they're not calling you they them, right? That's pretty much
Yeah.
what that's about. So wow. Okay, so is that the first time CPS is called?
Yes.
So only one time CPS came to your house.
Well, there's more after that.
Okay, so let's get wow. This is just insane. So now we're moving forward and you're going to start going to a therapist?
Yes.
And then how did that start? Did you go with your parents or did you go by yourself?
I think I went with my mom and we like kind of split the session, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So your mom talked a little bit and then you talked a little bit, but in separate rooms or
Yeah,
yeah, without each other. And then how long did you see that therapist for?
for like maybe a month or two because I didn't really like her because I thought she was transphobic because like she was actually a very good person and she was like you should join like a girls sports team because like it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
like if you're a girl or a boy you should still join a girls team because that would be more fair for you and I thought that was transphobic so I was like begging my mom to like not take me there anymore.
Wow. See, because you were so deeply indoctrinated into this thought process. It makes sense to me that you wouldn't. So did you stop seeing her?
Yeah, we found another one after.
And then you found another one. And then how did that one work for you?
That one was like she didn't really I don't. She was like pretending to be on my side. I think. Well, she
Okay.
kind of was on my side, but she tried to like focus on other issues I was dealing with.
Great. That's great. So, but did you want to talk about those other issues or no?
Not really. I only wanted to talk about like how my parents don't support me and how I want her to convince my parents to like call me a he.
Yeah, that's right. So, how long did that therapist last for?
I don't know, like
Okay.
6, 7 months.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah,
great. Did you feel like you were learning? Did you feel happy going to that person, or did you feel like maybe things were moving forward for you?
I was feeling pretty happy, but it's still kind of bad that she like affirmed my gender identity. Like she was always calling me by my preferred
Yeah,
name and like
yeah,
telling me
yeah.
that my parents will at some point still like support me.
Yeah, I mean, here that's the tough part. But I don't think you would have stayed in the therapy if she didn't call you he, right?
Yeah,
Again, you would have been like, she's transphobic. I can't go. So, was this one of those kind of well, what we call woke therapists? Was it one of those kind of therapists?
well,
Affirmation.
I'm not sure because like she wasn't like as woke as like some of the stuff I see online. Like she
Okay.
was like supportive of me, but not really like actively talking about it all the time.
Okay. See, that's actually good because I think maybe she's trying to pull you and you got to be really gentle because you're already so into it, right? The first one was transphobic. So the
Yeah,
second one, maybe she saw that and she was trying to. So after 6 months, did you start to have a better relationship with your parents or was it getting worse?
it was getting worse because like the school involvement and like more CAS calls and all that stuff.
Oh, so the school started calling more.
Yeah, because one time, I'm not even sure why, like, the principal just called CAS for absolutely no reason. I think it was just because I didn't hang out with anyone during recess. Like, I'm allowed to be alone sometimes. I just wanted to have some alone time, take a break from people. And she called CAS just because I wasn't hanging out with my friends. And she thought that, like, something was going on at home.
Wow. So she took it on herself instead of maybe calling mom and saying, "What's going on, mom?" She
Mhm.
just went straight to see, yeah. So then they get called again. And that because you wanted to sit by yourself at lunch. Like, what? Like, come on, man. It's so sick. Anyway, I get so mad about the whole thing. So CBS shows up again and questions your parents. What happened? Same thing. Like, they just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, same thing. But, like, after this, they, like, come again after a month just to
Do a
check
checkup.
again.
Yep, to do a checkup. That's right. And then was that checkup okay?
Yeah, but, like, same thing. Like, more LGBT resources,
Mm-hmm.
same woke
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then did it happen again? Did they come again?
I think it happened again after like I had another mental health
So
crisis.
let's talk about the next mental health breakdown that you have, right? I think you tried to, did you try to unalive yourself? What
I'm
we
trying to
call
remember which one we're talking about right now.
it's totally up to you,
Yes.
100%. I want you to be comfortable. If you don't even want to talk about it, we don't have to. It's completely okay. It's Lily, the fact that you're even saying all of this is everything
Okay,
to
yeah, I
me.
remember which one. I remember.
Okay, okay,
It
okay,
was I think in January, and I like cut myself too deep. Like it wasn't really a suicide. I was just self harm. I cut too
okay,
deep, and I like ran up to my parents and I was like, I think I like everything went wrong, and like they called the police to like come.
of course.
And yeah, like I got stitches at the hospital. Like it wasn't anything that serious. But when I came back to school and like I told the principal about it because I trusted her at that time, and she was like, Oh, that's bad. But like, I'm so proud of you for rebelling against your parents, though. She said that. Like, those are her exact words. Like, I'm so proud that you rebelled against your parents.
Oh my god, I'm just what? Wait, what? That
Yeah.
that is actually sick.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
she's encouraging you on some level. These people are out of their minds. Oh my
Yeah, and she
god.
called CPS after that because like my parents were abusive.
You're clearly hurting and you're clearly dealing with a lot of emotional pain. And instead of understanding that, it's literally like they're putting you into this disgusting system without actually really caring what's going on with you, kiddo, why you feel this way. Do you remember why you felt like cutting yourself, or did you learn cutting from somewhere, or did you just think about doing it?
Well, I learned it from TikTok actually. I saw like a lot of those trans activists, like they had like a bunch of scars on their arms, and I like they were talking like they had like self harm
What?
warnings on their videos, and I was like, what is self harm? And I looked it up, and I was like, maybe this will help me deal with my emotions if it helps those people, like people like me, trans at that time.
My god, I just want to cry for you. I'm not kidding. This is so disgusting. So you're learning self harm on TikTok from other trans activists. Ugh, that disgusting activists. How is that activism, right? And you're just getting sucked up into it, sucked up into it. And do you feel more depressed about
Yeah,
yourself?
I
Yeah.
do because I feel like no one ever will ever understand me, and like I actually started hating like my body.
Whereas before, I think before all this started to happen, do you ever remember hating yourself before
No,
this?
there were times when I was uncomfortable, but I never hated myself before.
I mean, being uncomfortable is, we're all uncomfortable. I'm still uncomfortable. Yeah. So, I mean, I just see it all. So it gets down to, this is really horrible stuff that's happening to you. And your parents must be freaking out at this point, right? And dealing with all of this. So now you're deep into it and you're just that. So what, I just, like, how did you get out of it? I guess is my next question. How did you start to feel maybe this isn't the right path for me?
Yeah, so there was this time when like I was begging my parents to see like trans activist videos, and they said that they will only watch them if I watch some of like detransition videos, and I was like, fine, but I still watched them, and like I got curious because like at first I thought like maybe it's just 1% because that's what people are saying, only 1% of trans people detransition, and I thought like okay, it's sad that this person went through this, but it's very rare, so like this would never happen to me. Like one time on vacation, I was like still curious about like how often does this actually happen? So I watched some other ones like Chloe Cole, and like I was like, what if this is really like what if this is actually a cult? What if what she's saying is true? Because like she was like a bit older than me, but still like it's very similar story. And I was like, what if this is like where I'm heading?
Wow.
And around that time, my dad bought like Irreversible Damage by Abigail Schreier for himself, and like he told me not to read it because like he didn't want my mental health to get worse because like those are the kind of stuff that triggered me at the time. But I
Mm-hmm.
still took it one time and I read it, and like one day, like I was like so curious about what a transphobic book has to say.
Mm-hmm.
And as I kept reading, like I actually related to so much stuff in it. I was like, okay, even if this is a cult, I can't go back now. I'm happy with my identity. Like I don't want to go back. Like even if this
Mm-hmm.
is a cult. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, okay, this is definitely a cult. Like I can see all of the evidence here, but like I still want to like be popular and I still want to have like a bunch of friends. Like as I finished reading it, I was like, okay, I don't care what people think of me. I don't want to like medically transition if it isn't what's right for me because like that's where I was heading if I didn't stop. So yeah, I just like told my parents I want to be a girl again, and yeah.
Wow. That is, I'm friends with Abigail Schreier, and I'm going to tell her that you said that. It's going to make her so, so happy. That book did get labeled as a transphobic
Yeah,
book
I heard like Amazon stopped promoting it because of that.
because the trans activists got onto Amazon and were like putting it there and calling it. It took a long time to get it. And, I'm in that book. I'm like the last chapter of that book. She did an interview with me. So That being said, the fact that you're such a smart kid, I'm going to tell you that you're going to be something. I already know it. You're going to maybe a politician, maybe not. Maybe let's hope not, because that's a horrible job. But we need good people like you. But no, you're so intelligent, and the fact that you. So, did your parents just have that book? Your dad or your mom said, "Here's this book," and they just had it laying around, and you just picked it up one day and decided to look into it.
Yeah, it was on my dad's
Yeah,
desk and I just
yeah.
took it.
That's just incredible. It's incredible to me that you sort of, and then watching all the decent. Chloe's also a friend of mine. Watching them sort of talk about this, and that's why they tell you not to watch it, right? And that's why the trans activists tell you not to read those books or look at those videos, because they're scared you might see what's happening to yourself.
Exactly.
That's right. To deprogram because you were programmed. I really do believe you were programmed to think this about yourself, and so now you decided to tell your parents, I don't want to be a boy anymore. I want to be a girl.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And what did they? Do you remember? Like, what did they even say? They must have been in shock.
Yeah, they were really happy, and I was like, I want to like go back to being a she and like my real name at school, but I was like so scared. Like I was talking
Yeah,
about it with my mom like all the time, and I was like, I'm so
yeah.
scared. Like, what if everyone's gonna hate me now?
I know.
And
I
we
know.
did like me and my mom and my teacher at that time had like a meeting, and like
Great,
we explained to the teacher that I want to be a she again,
great.
and the teacher started to call me a she and like my real name, and
Wow.
like all the my classmates were like, are you sure you want to be a girl again? Like, are your parents not pushing this on you? And like, even the teacher, like after that meeting, she pulled me aside the next day in the classroom and she was like, "Okay, I understand what you and your mom said yesterday in the meeting, and I will fully like support you if you want to go back to being a girl. But are you sure your parents aren't pushing this on you? Because I want to support what you want, not what your parents want."
Wow. Just wow. That's undermining your parents.
Hmm.
That is the same thing. That is that indoctrinate. Are you sure? What do you mean? Wow, that is, oh my god, that is disgusting behavior. First off, schools should never even be involved in your private life. That's your private life, right? And whatever's going on. The fact that a teacher can do that legally is scary. So
It
you
is.
said, "Yeah, I want to be a girl." I am.
Yeah.
So, and then your friends were kind of weirded out by it at first.
Yeah, and even like my friends, like for a month or two, like after I told them I'm a girl again, they were still calling me by my like previous preferred name. Like I kept telling them, please stop calling me that. Like I want to be called by my girl name again, but they weren't listening. Like they were still calling me that name.
Wow, because they're indoctrinated into it as well. But I think some people, they want to do the right thing. Do you know what I mean? They want to, be supportive of you, and they think that they're, because the trans activists have also indoctrinated other people
Yeah,
who feel like they have to be allies, right? They have to be your ally and help you go through it. That's why this whole thing is so dangerous, because they
yeah. Like
brought in, yeah, go.
some of these people, like they don't mean any harm. Like they're just trying to do what they're taught to do. Like they think
That's
that
right.
this is what they should do, like and that it's the right thing, but it's not because they were indoctrinated.
Thank you for saying that. That's exactly right, kiddo. You got it all. So now here you are, going back to living as yourself, really, your true, real, actual self. You didn't do any medicalization.
No.
Oh my God. Were you thinking about doing it?
Yeah, I was doing like so much research. I was like researching different types of top surgeries, like at what age I can get it, like if my our insurance covers it, at what age can I start puberty blockers, do I need consent for it? I was like doing all of this research.
Wow, this is just at your age, at 12 and years
Yeah.
old, you're
And
being.
one time when we went to the family doctor, like she asked me and my mom if like we would like more information about puberty blockers and if we would like a referral to the gender clinic.
Your doctor asked you if you wanted to take puberty blockers.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh God. You know how lucky you are that you never did any of that.
Yeah, I know, thank God.
Seriously, it would have destroyed your life on so many levels. It's the fact that that doctor even said that is just mind blowing to me. Mind blowing. So you bypass all of the medical intervention. The fact that everyone's, the weird thing to me, Julia, is that they're pushing you, all the adults, right? The school, the doctors, the psychologists, even the police,
Mhm.
like they're all pushing you to transition.
Yeah, they are. There was this one time when I was like alone with a police officer, and she told me that like she's a lesbian and she has a bunch of trans friends, and like once I'm 18, I can just like do whatever I want. Like my parents will not be able to control me, and I will finally be able to live as my true self once I become a legal adult.
So you're alone with a police officer who happens to be a lesbian, and she's pushing transitioning on you.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like a scary movie.
it is.
Totally. I mean, I know we're here laughing, but we're doing it so we don't cry because there's many times in your story, my friend, I want to just start crying for you that you. So, how many years do you think you were in this indoctrination?
I think about 3 years, like 2 years publicly and like 1 year privately.
1 year privately, and then to sort of come out of it. So, how long has it been now since you have been living back as yourself?
It started like in December, so
Okay, so
like a
6
bit more
months,
than half a year.
half a year. How do you feel?
A lot better. Like I'm so much happier now.
I mean, you just seem like a happy kid. That's how I see you. Like you're, and I, when I was with you and your mom in our private conversation, I could see the closeness. You know, she was hugging her mom a lot, and they were just so close, and it was so beautiful to see because I know that your mom stressed a lot about this. Your mom. I'm surprised she didn't have a nervous breakdown. To be honest with you, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
or that's why I really want parents to watch this because they're all many parents are going through what you and your mom went through. You know that.
Yeah, I know. Like I see this around me. Like I see kids my age who are going through this, and like I don't know what to do because like I don't want to start talking to them about it because like they
Yeah.
will just push me away immediately.
That's right. They will. You're right. Because that's what you did.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That's why speaking out on platforms like mine and getting into bigger. I mean, you were in National Post, I think, or some. You were in a
Yeah, I
couple
was.
other big spaces, but I think some people will see this, and hopefully, bigger platforms than mine maybe will reach out to you and get you on, so we can get your story to a bigger population of people. Because you know, Julie, they have to see your story. You know that, and I think it's why you sit with me here today because everything you said is so honest and so true and so what a lot of us know that's happening. But as an older transsexual person who proves that this can happen to you and it is a real thing, but as an adult and somebody who's lived a lot of life, when you turn 30, if you decided that you wanted to be something, you can just do that, right? No one's, it's an adult choice. But there's, to me, and I'll be honest with you, I do not believe there are trans kids. I think they're kids dealing with a lot of stuff going on. But now today, I think a lot of kids are like you who are just being told this, and
Yeah,
what you probably never even would have been through this situation if you didn't go on TikTok.
probably. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a very big statement. It's a very big thing.
but even if I did go on TikTok, like it would have been like not as bad if like everyone around me didn't affirm me.
Yeah, that's right. And somehow you found that. I find to be TikTok like the biggest indoctrination space for this, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's like they want that. Whenever I say anything on TikTok, I get taken down. I get blocked. People report me. I'm surprised I'm hanging on to my TikTok. Like pretty soon I'll be completely kicked off. Um, so today, what's happening? What are you doing? Just going to school and you got friends and all that?
Yeah, I've made some new friends at church, and I'm making some new
Oh,
ones at school because like I
great.
switched schools, like they don't really know about what happened, and I don't want
Excellent.
to bring it up yet. So like I'm making new friends who don't know anything about it.
Oh, genius. That was genius of you to move schools, honestly, and just go back to being your normal self. And they don't need to know about it. But I will encourage you to talk about it in situations like this, and it's good for you. And also, you sent me an email recently about a poll that you did, right?
Yeah, I
Tell
did.
us
Yeah.
a little bit about that, what you did.
Yeah, I did a small survey on PIT, parents with inconvenient truths about trans, and
Okay.
I asked questions for like the parents about their children because like I wanted
Yeah,
to just see what was really happening. Like I know Abigail Schreier did a similar thing that was like a lot bigger, but I wanted to see for myself.
great.
So yeah, and like the results were like what I expected them to be. Like they didn't surprise me because like most of like what the parents were describing is like exactly what happened to me. Like it's not real gender dysphoria, it's ROGD.
That's right. That's right. But would the thing is, would ROGD, it's a great poll. I'm going to post the link to it so everybody can go look at it. It's so genius of you to do that. That's why I keep saying you're such a smart kid. You got a big future ahead of you. You're definitely not a dummy. And it doesn't matter. Smart people get sucked into this because it's difficult to be a kid. We've all been a kid. That's the thing all of us can relate to, being a kid, going through puberty, going through all of these things. It's so easy to pull a kid into a space like that. But that's why I love this poll, because I think it's so smart of you. And you're right. The thing is, ROGD never existed before. It just started to happen.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, like was the first time.
Do you think that the internet plays into that?
Yeah, because that's like when the internet got popular.
When kids started getting on the internet.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly what I think too, because that's when everyone, because that's how I say, how come these kids didn't exist when I was doing this? How come they didn't exist even 15 years ago? They just started happening when the internet started, and TikTok really made it go into a whole other universe,
Yeah.
right?
And like I saw this one statistic. I don't know how true it is, but the like trans kid rates increased by like 10,000% over the past 10 years.
And see how they, what I remember you were talking when you started to read the book and looking at desisters or detransitioners, and then you said something that was really interesting to me. Oh gosh, I thought I wrote it down. Shoot, I didn't. There was something there that, how they try to lie about the amount of desisters or
Yeah.
right?
They said that it was very, very rare, and like those people just get misdiagnosed, and like that's definitely not your case because like you clearly have gender dysphoria.
That is just crazy. See, they're hiding it. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that there's like a group on like Reddit or something with like 50,000? Not that they might not all be detransitioners, a lot might be desisters,
Yeah,
but
I've heard of that group, but I think I got banned one time for like I got banned because like even like in that group, like some of the desisters or detransitioners, they're still a bit more on the liberal side. So like they
yeah.
say like that like even though it wasn't right for me, I'm sure there are some kids that benefit from this. And like I commented that like no kids ever benefit from this. Like brains don't like don't fully mature until the age of like 25, and like I got banned from the platform.
I mean, let me just tell you, you're doing something right, kiddo, when you get banned. It means they don't want to have conversation, right? If if if
Yeah,
if they really cared about this, they would have conversation with you and me, and because I'm like in alignment with you, that I'm a more conservative. And I'm a transsexual. I get called transphobic.
yeah. Like I've had some people like on Reddit who called me a turf. Like, how can I be a turf? Like I went through this. Like I know what I'm talking about. How can I be a turf?
You see what I mean? It's all just name calling and immature. They're scared of you because you're powerful. You are actually a very powerful human being because you're bringing truth to this, and you will save, you will save other kids your age, which is everything to me. That you are so brave to stand up against those people, and no, don't ever let them tell you what you're doing is wrong. Please, ever. If you ever just need to say, hey, Trampa, I just need a Trampa, talk for a minute, with your mom, obviously, I'm always here for you because you are going to really help so many. They need to hear your voice. They don't need to just keep hearing all these weirdos on TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it's just so beautiful how you have regained your family, and you're going to church with your family now
Yes.
and getting some faith in your life, which is so. During this time, were you going to church, or did you have any faith in your life?
No, I was an atheist. Like I did go to church a few times because my parents met some new friends, but I hated it. Like I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And I feel
Well,
like part of the reason like why I got out of this like before anything bad happened was because like the whole church was praying for me. Like everyone there knew about it, and like they didn't really discuss it with me because they knew like I would never come back if they talked to me about this. But they were like all praying for me, and I'm very happy that they did.
oh, it's beautiful. Whatever faith anybody is out there, Judaism, Christianity, whatever it is that you choose, Buddhism, I really do believe faith is important in our lives. And I think that's one of the things that young people are missing today, right? Because they get this idea, oh, don't go to the Christians, they're this, or don't listen to this because that's not true. That's actually not true. And I think faith really gives you a sort of stability in your life and whatever that means to you. And I think don't you agree? I think a lot of kids don't understand what faith is.
Yeah, they don't.
No, they don't. And I think you also can do that. You can teach. I actually recently interviewed a young trans person who was a girl who became a boy, a little older than you. I think they started getting into it like around 20 or something. Anyway, long story short, she one day she said God spoke to me. She actually said that. I heard God and I knew that what I was doing was bad and God told me not to do this. And some people think that's crazy. I don't care because that's her right story like yours. And then she said she knew that she was doing the wrong thing. And today she's a very big outspoken she did surgery. I think she did no, actually took hormones. She didn't do surgery. Anyway, long story short, she found God and it helped her move forward. And she talks a lot about it. And people are so mad at her in the trans community. Like, that's not true. And I'm like, yes, it is. She heard God and it helped her get into a better situation. So I think the more of us that talk about some faith on some level, whatever that is, and I'm so happy that you're doing that and really doing such great work to help people move forward because you have to start with yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If there's anything, we're going to end here a little bit, but in a minute or so. But I want to know if there's anything you want to say to the world or to people or anything that a message that you'd want to put out there.
I want to like tell the parents like who are trying to get their kids out of this, but they're struggling. That like just keep planting seeds. Like don't stop fighting. Like if you stop, then like it's game over. Like your kids are gonna get transitioned like medically, and like they will like when they realize it's too late. Like it's gonna be too late. So just like keep fighting. Like keep planting seeds and keep talking about it.
Oh, what an awesome message from a youngster to the adults. That's what we need more of. And we need more of yous. We need more of yous.
I'm
We
sure
do,
there
we
will
do.
be soon.
They're yeah. I mean, in a good way and a bad way, right? Because hopefully they didn't. Hopefully they desisted and they're not detransing, right? Which is like no medical. That's the part that scares me the most. Is all of these young. They're mostly girls too. Don't you think that's weird? It's
Yeah,
all
like the
girls.
sex ratio it flipped. Like before, it used to be like only gender dysphoric boys at a young age, but it flipped.
It's weird. It's literally all. I think in Abigail's book, it's like a 4,000% increase in young girls, and they're actually getting surgery at like 14 and 15 years old.
Yeah, like
What?
I heard about this one story where a 13-year-old got a double mastectomy because she thought she was trans.
I mean, that should be illegal. How is that even legal? How and what happens when they decide they're not trans? Like, let's say you did that right now, you would be in such a bad situation. And also, puberty blockers would make you infertile. And you would have never been able to have the chance to have a baby
Yeah, that's
ever.
like very sad.
It's so sad and so weird, and it's why we have to continue to fight against this, my friend. And so I'm going to tell everybody to please like the heck out of this video because all that does is get YouTube to put it out there more. And we need to fight against the YouTubers that are pushing this stuff on young kids as opposed to, it's not that I don't want somebody to transition. I want them to do it when they're an adult and they can make these choices. Most people wouldn't do it if they got to be an adult, right? They would change their mind and they wouldn't do it. That's the
Yeah,
thing that's weird to me. Why are we pushing this on kids? Don't you think that's weird?
I feel like it might be because like the medical companies earn money from it.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna be in agreement with you on that. There's definitely, I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna 100% agree with you on that. It's money. It has to be. There's no other, medical for life, right? I'm medicalized for life. I can never not be in a medical space. So with that, Julie, thank you for your time. Thank you everybody for spending the hour with us. She's a powerhouse, and you watch. I'm telling you, this one's going to be something, and we're all going to remember seeing you when you were 13, when you're 20. You're just like ah. So with that, everybody, maybe you'll write a book, which would be really amazing. So with
Maybe.
that, yeah, maybe I'm going to encourage you. So with that, everybody, I'll see you guys Wednesday on the live, and then thanks so much for joining us today, and I'll see you all later.
Thank you so
Hold
much
on.
for having me.
Thank you.
Oh,
Bye.
you're
Thank
you're
you.
so sweet.